cake. Hello YouTubes and welcome to yet another Fireworks Mania devlog. I made some decent progress this week and managed to get some bug fixed and also implemented some new stuff, especially around the listing of the blueprints where I added some more metadata. So let's get started. If you're new to my channel, I'm building a fireworks simulator game while having a wife, 2 kids, a full-time day job and a dog. It all started around New Year's Eve 2019 when my oldest son asked me to help him find a fireworks simulator. We couldn't really find any, so I was like, maybe I can build this. Here on my YouTube channel you will find devlogs and live streams documenting my journey all the way from day 1 and the early prototypes to present time, which is post Steam release, where I keep updating and evolving the game in close dialogue with the community around it. So if you think a fireworks simulator game like Fireworks Mania sounds fun and you like watching devlogs of how it's being made, well, you come to the right place. So similar to last week, let's go through the most important task I managed to complete this week. Let's have a look here. So this is the full list. We won't go into all of them, but we'll take the most important ones. We updated some translation credits, just a naming update. I updated the localization package. It's basically just an internal package in Unity I use to localize the game. Localize meaning translating the game to different languages. Then I upgraded Destroy It, which is another package I use to blow up stuff. You know that part. And then we come to one of the major ones, which is the improved save UI progress for smaller chunks. Let me get a little closer here. In the previous version, when you saved a small blueprint, the progress bar in the bottom was barely visible because the saving was so fast. So what I did in this version now is that I kind of faked it, which is a little game developer trick. So it sounds weird, but it actually makes the whole thing feel a little better. So I have implemented some logic where if the blueprint is kind of small, it fakes a delay for like half a second or 300 milliseconds or something like that, to make the progress bar have a chance of being shown to the player and making its progress and then being hidden again. That only happens if the blueprint is small. If it's a big one, it doesn't do this delay because it already knows, okay, this is gonna take a while, so we'll just do it normally. But the progress bar for loading and saving the blueprints now is a little changed. I want to change it too in the future and maybe add a little more information instead of just the progress bar, but now it fades in and fades out. I also played around with some UI where there was a black bar behind it, but it looked kind of weird and I couldn't really make it work great. I might figure out something else, but at least I think in the future I will put down some text, maybe a number counting up so you can see, okay, we know there is 500 items in this blueprint. We are currently working on 255 or something like that. So that turned out pretty great actually, with this loading bar and this UI being optimized a little. As I mentioned, I'll get back to it in the future. Moving on, well, yeah, okay, that was actually the part I just mentioned, upgrading the blueprint, loading UI. That was what I mentioned with the progress bar. Next one is that I fixed also, which turned out to also be a part of this blueprint, was that there was somebody in Discord complaining about the progress bar not starting with 0 and ending with 100. It was kind of starting at like 10% and ending with 90 or something like that. So I changed that up a bit, so it now almost starts at 0 as far as I remember and closes down at almost 100. I can maybe do it better, but it's the way I made the logic. It has something to do with how I made the logic, the reason it works like this, and also it's because the first step happens so fast, so you barely see it at 0, and the same with the last step, you barely see that at 100. But without going into the details, it's a little better now, I think. Let me know what you think if you try this out on the experimental branch. Let me know in the comments below. Then there was somebody asking, could you program that you can close the fireworks menu and the blueprints menu with the escape button? That was also a little request from I don't know. Anyway, thank you for the suggestion, and I actually did that too. So when opening up the inventory now, you can hit escape to close it down again. Minor thing, but for some people it might make sense and might make it a little easier. Next up is adding a refresh button to Blueprints page. That's actually, it goes together with some other ones. The next one here, fix box, where it's not always the selected blueprint that gets loaded, which goes together with the show metadata on blueprint on select actually ended up doing it a little different than on select. So these three actually are kind of related because it's all around the blueprints page. And let me show you how that looks now, because it's pretty different than before. One of the things I've wanted to do from the beginning is show a little more info about the blueprint so you can see more of it before loading it. So what I did was that I changed it up so that when you hit tab now and go to blueprints, you will see it load in like this now. It takes a while depending on how fast your machine is and how many blueprints you have. This one was pretty slow because it's in the editor, so there's a lot of other stuff running in the background too. But as you can see here now, there is more info about the blueprint. There is the name of the blueprint, there's the description, which is currently auto-generated. I will change that so you actually have a chance of writing your own. On the other side here you have author, which is currently unknown, but you can see it can be Pyro, Local, HD, yada yada yada, unknown, Laumania. Anyway, then there is modified, so you can see when this blueprint was saved. Right now this string here, or this representation of that date time, is a little too detailed with the +00. That's not really important for people here, so I will change that to something a little more simple. And then we have the game version, which is the version of the game that this one was saved in. So now you can see here that it have all these metadata. As you noticed, it was a little longer to load. Normally it just shows up right away, but now it loads slower. And coming back to the refresh button we talked about before, now you can see it here again. You can refresh it. So if you got a blueprint from a friend, put it into your folder. The folder you can open by hitting this open folder. You can hit the refresh button to make it reload all the files in the blueprints folder. Eventually you might end up with something else, so do it automatically, but this is how it works now. Anyway, so now you think, well, that was very slow loading, very annoying. Why is that? Well, the thing is that, and now it becomes a little technical, maybe a little too game dev like, but I'll just do it briefly. You see, before I was loading this list, it was just the files in the folder, as you know, basically just running through all we see here, removing that JSON thing and just putting in the file name into the list here, as you know in the previous version. That's pretty quick to do, even if there is a lot of files. I wanted to show more data in here. So what I'm doing now is for each file, I actually pass the file, I actually read it into memory to get all these data here, which for some of the big ones takes a while. So that's how it works in this version. I can't promise anything, but I would like at some point to speed that up a little. Because as you can see here, if you look at a random blueprint file, and again, I know it might be a little technical, but for the ones who are interested, this is how it works. As you can see in the beginning, there are some kind of metadata around the blueprint, and then comes all the entities. As you can see here to the right, the entities part is the majority of the file. So that's the stuff taking time to load in. Not like loading in the objects in the game, but just reading the file and passing these data. What I would like to do at some point is make it so that it only initially reads in this one, because that's the only part that is really needed for showing it in the list, so I can make it list show up much quicker, and then wait with reading in this part until it actually needs to load the blueprint. I don't know if it was too detailed, but this is just some of the thoughts I have, and yeah, how it works now compared to how I would like it to work at some point. Next one is a bug, pop-up stays if the inventory is closed. And this was also something that was reported from in the Discord, that you can actually open up the inventory, and then if you open up, like if you maybe want to delete a blueprint, this pop-up will show up, and then you can hit tab to remove the inventory. And that's obviously a bug. But now, if I go in here and I kind of select, let's say this one, and say delete, then the pop-up shows, which is also, if you noticed here, the UI is also a little more clear, not so transparent, so it's easier to see. That's another UI change. But now I cannot, if I hit tab, nothing happens. I can hit escape, I can't hit escape either. So I can't click here. So I can only click these two buttons. I click no in this case, and now I can close it. So, and that works for all these pop-ups. So that bug has also been fixed. And then here at the end we have floating objects on the ranch, which was also reported on Discord. I forgot some floating, I don't even know what it was actually, but there were some floating vegetables or something that looked weird. So I removed that. And after that, there was also another one reporting that there was no collider on the sink in the bathroom in the house. So I added colliders to that. It's not explodable yet, but first step is to give it a collider, and it have now. So now you can fill up the sink with explosives, but it won't break yet. And basically that was it for this devlog. As you can see, I've updated the changelog and I pushed changes to the experimental branch, so you guys can check it out after this video. And I create a devlog, which is what I'm actually doing now.
It's our great pleasure to welcome all of you to SpilPrisen 2021 Digital Special Collector's Edition!
So this was also the week where I participated in the Danish game award show called SpilPrisen, where Fireworks Mania was nominated in 2 categories, which was pretty cool. I never tried that before. So I was sitting there being on Zoom as part of at the show, even though, you know, I wasn't shown, but the game was shown in the categories it was nominated. It didn't win, but yeah, that's how it is. I can't really do anything about that. But it was fun enough to be a part of and watch the show, and it's always funny to see your game together with some of the major games, like Deep Rock Galactic. So that was pretty cool. If I can find a link to the recording of that show, I will put it in the description. I'm not currently sure if it's up yet anywhere on YouTube or anywhere, but if I can find it, I will put it in the description. So if you want to see Fireworks Mania lose to some of the other games. But anyway, it was fun to be a part of, and yeah, I'm just going back working on the game. So that was it for this devlog. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye!